Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before viewing this session, please make sure that you have seen the session 1 on cerebrum and the supralateral surface. So in this session we are continuing with the supralateral surface. We are going to subdivide the lobes into different regions with the help of the minor sulci which we are going to discuss. Okay. In the last session we have already discussed about how we divided the supralateral surface into frontal, parietal, occipital, temporal, and we also discussed about the hidden lobe, the insular or central lobe. Okay. Now we will move on with the frontal lobe. In the frontal lobe, which is lying in front of the central sulcus, you have one more sulcus which is almost parallel with the central sulcus. Since the sulcus is lying in front of the central sulcus, you call this as precentral sulcus, which is lying in front of the central sulcus. You call it as precentral sulcus. So what do you call the region between the central sulcus and precentral sulcus? That is known as precentral gyrus. Okay, so you have the region lying in front of the central sulcus. Parallel to the central sulcus, you have one more sulcus, that is, it is not continuous sulcus, it is broken sulcus, and that is known as precentral sulcus, and the gyrus which is lying between these two sulci, you call it as precentral gyrus. Now in front of this precentral sulcus, there is a region in the frontal lobe which is divided by two horizontally lying sulci. They are superior frontal sulcus and inferior frontal sulcus. Okay, superior frontal sulcus and inferior frontal sulcus. So if you draw two horizontal lines, you can get three regions out of it, isn't it? 1, 2, 3. So which are the three regions? Superior, middle and inferior frontal gyri. Okay, so this is how you are going to divide the remaining region of the frontal lobe in front of the precentral sulcus into three regions with the help of two sulci, the superior and inferior frontal sulci. So you get superior, middle and inferior frontal gyri. Okay. Now we have already discussed about the three rami of the lateral sulcus, isn't it? So there is a region lying just below the anterior horizontal ramus of the lateral sulcus. The region marked as A, that is known as pars orbitalis. Okay, that is known as pars orbitalis. Now there is a region between the anterior horizontal and anterior ascending. This is almost a triangular region, isn't it? So it is named similarly, pars triangularis. Okay, pars triangularis. Now another region which is lying between the anterior ascending and the posterior ramus, this is marked as C, which is just lying above the opercular region, that is known as pars opercularis. Okay, pars opercularis. So these are the three regions which are seen in relation with the three rami of lateral sulcus. Now we will move on with the temporal lobe, how the temporal lobe is divided into regions. So again, there also similar to the frontal lobe in the anterior aspect, we have two important sulci, superior and inferior temporal sulcus. Okay, so superior temporal sulcus and inferior temporal sulcus. So two lines dividing a region will give you three regions. Which are the three regions here? 1, 2 and 3. So which are the three gyri you get here? Superior, middle and inferior temporal gyri. Just like the frontal region, you have superior, middle and inferior temporal gyri. One important thing which you should remember here is, if you see the temporal gyri like this, the superior temporal gyri like this, there is a superior surface for the temporal gyrus, isn't it? You imagine this as a projection. There is a superior surface. My fingers in this region can be considered as a superior surface. So there are two projections in the superior surface. Anterior projection, you call it as anterior temporal gyrus, and the posterior projection you call it as posterior temporal gyrus. Since this is transversely seen, you can call it as anterior transverse temporal gyrus and posterior transverse temporal gyrus. What's the importance of this? Why am I stressing about the anterior and posterior? It will be seen like this, anterior and posterior temporal gyrus. It is because the anterior temporal gyrus is also known as Heschl's gyrus, which is actually the primary auditory area. We will be discussing about the functional areas in detail in the coming sessions. I really love the functional areas and the applied aspects of the same. So please keep watching and please let me know how you went with these two sessions. So based on that, I will be continuing with the functional areas if you are interested. So the anterior horizontal or anterior transverse temporal gyrus is actually the Heschl's gyrus, where you get the primary auditory area seated. Now we will move on with the parietal lobe. Okay, coming to the parietal lobe, similar to the sulcus which you got parallel to the central sulcus anteriorly, you get a sulcus running down similar to the anteriorly running sulcus, that is known as the post-central sulcus, since it is lying behind the central sulcus. Okay, so you call this as post-central sulcus, a sulcus which is almost lying parallel to the central sulcus, behind the central sulcus. And one more thing is, this is not continuous just like the pre-central sulcus. Only the central sulcus is continuous. So the post-central sulcus is also broken in between. Now, what do you call the gyrus which is lying between the central sulcus and the post-central sulcus? You call this region or this gyrus as the post-central gyrus. Okay, just like the pre-central gyrus and the pre-central sulcus, you have the post-central sulcus and the post-central gyrus. Now, we have one important sulcus which is lying horizontally, which is going to divide our parietal lobe into two lobules. One important point which I would like to mention here is, when we discussed about the frontal lobe, when we discussed about the temporal lobe, we divided it into gyri, isn't it? But when we come to the parietal lobe, with the help of the intraparietal sulcus, okay, this is the intraparietal sulcus, IPS, intraparietal sulcus, we are going to divide the parietal lobe into superior and inferior parietal lobule. It is not gyri, it is not known as gyri, but named as superior and inferior parietal lobule. Since you get only one sulcus here, you are getting only two regions here, whereas in the frontal and temporal you got three regions. Okay, that also you have to keep in mind. Then apart from that, is there any other regions in the parietal lobe? Yes, of course. So how you get the remaining region of the parietal lobe divided? That is by tracing the remaining sulci which we have already discussed. So first we will trace the posterior ramus of the lateral sulcus. It is actually the end of the posterior ramus of the lateral sulcus is actually projecting into the parietal lobe. So the region which is lying around the tip of the posterior end of the posterior ramus, this region of the parietal lobe is known as supramarginal gyrus. Supramarginal gyrus. So the region of the parietal lobe which is seen around the posterior end of the posterior ramus, this region is known as supramarginal gyrus. All these are very, very important when we discuss about the functional area. So please keep in mind how where will you look for the supramarginal gyrus? You have to trace the posterior ramus of the lateral sulcus into the parietal lobe, and the gyrus seen around it is known as supramarginal gyrus. Similarly, one more gyrus is there in the parietal lobe, that is known as angular gyrus. How will you get angular gyrus? For that, you have to trace the sulcus which we have discussed in the temporal lobe. What is that? This is the superior temporal sulcus. Okay, you had two sulci there. So superior temporal sulcus, if you trace it into the parietal lobe, the region which is seen around the end of the superior temporal sulcus in the parietal lobe, you call that as angular gyrus. Okay, so that's again very, very important. Now, if we trace similarly the inferior temporal sulcus, which is actually projecting into the parietal lobe, it's not that extending into the parietal lobe like the posterior ramus or the superior temporal sulcus, but still there is an area here which is actually shared between the temporal and occipital lobe, that is known as arcus temporo-occipitalis. Okay, so this arcus is known as arcus temporo-occipitalis, which is shared between the temporal lobe and the occipital lobe. Okay, so these are the three sulci projecting towards the parietal lobe, out of which two are exclusively seen in the parietal lobe. They are the supramarginal gyrus and the angular gyrus. And the other one, which is actually seen around the inferior temporal sulcus, that is known as arcus temporo-occipitalis. In anatomy, most of the naming is very easy, because if you just focus on that naming itself, you can get most of the definitions, where to look for, what does it mean, all these things you will get very clearly. Now we will move on with the occipital lobe. Occipital lobe, similar to the parietal lobe, you have only one horizontally running sulcus, that is known as lateral occipital sulcus. Okay, lateral occipital sulcus, loss. You are at loss in the occipital lobe. So this will divide the occipital lobe into superior occipital gyrus and inferior occipital gyrus. Okay, only two regions since you have only one sulcus. And one more thing which you get here is a C-shaped sulcus. That, since it is in the shape of a moon, you call it as lunate sulcus. Okay, and from the tip of the occipital pole, you can see a sulcus extending onto the superolateral surface, and sometimes it will just go and meet the lunate sulcus like this. So this is actually the continuation of the calcarine sulcus from the medial surface. Okay, a bit of it you can see here. That is the calcarine sulcus, which is going sometimes meeting the lunate sulcus. Now at this point I would like to add one more important sulcus, that is known as transverse occipital sulcus. Okay, this is the transverse occipital sulcus. Just like the horizontal sulcus, we have the transverse occipital sulcus just behind the parieto-occipital sulcus. Okay, horizontally running sulcus. This is the transverse occipital sulcus. The importance of this transverse occipital sulcus is, this sulcus usually meets the intraparietal sulcus. Okay, we have seen only one horizontally running sulcus in the parietal lobe, that is the intraparietal sulcus, and this sulcus will go and meet the transverse occipital sulcus. And what you get in the region, or what is the importance of this transverse occipital sulcus? It actually encloses a gyrus in and around the parieto-occipital sulcus. We already mentioned about the parieto-occipital sulcus, which was the major sulcus on the medial surface, which is projecting onto the superolateral surface, isn't it? So there is a region around the parieto-occipital sulcus, and the boundary of it is, one of the boundary of it is formed by the transverse occipital sulcus, and this transverse occipital surface is actually forming a boundary by meeting with the intraparietal sulcus. This point usually it is very tough to see in most of the books, so but it is quite interesting, especially for the PG, so please note down that point. So the arcus which you get around the parieto-occipital sulcus, you call it as arcus parieto-occipitalis. Again, the naming is very easy because it is shared between the parietal lobe and the occipital lobe. Okay, so that is arcus parieto-occipitalis. That point also you have to keep in mind. So this is how you divide the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the temporal lobe and the occipital lobe into different regions with the help of the minor sulci. The major sulcus we have already discussed, and these are the minor sulci which will be dividing the superolateral surface into further subdivisions. And with the help of these subdivisions, we will move on to discuss about the functional areas of the cerebral cortex and the applied aspects. So please keep watching, and please leave your comments if you have understood the session, and it actually helps me feel motivated. And please do subscribe those who haven't subscribed, and please join our family, and let's become a big family. Thank you. Thank you so much.